Philo thoughts. Fear is the main source of superstition, and one of the main sources of cruelty. To conquer fear is the beginning of wisdom, in the pursuit of truth is in the endeavor after a worthy manner of life. Man's main concern is not to gain pleasure or to avoid pain but rather to see a meaning in his life. That is why man is even ready to suffer, on the condition, to be sure, that his suffering has a meaning. If a victory is told in detail, one can no longer distinguish it from a defeat. No passion is stronger in the breast of a man than the desire to make others believe as he believes. Even if all possible scientific questions be answered, the problems of life have still not been touched at all. The deepest principle of human nature is the craving to be appreciated. Peace of mind and heart arrives when we accept what is. Having been born into this strange life, we must accept the wasted gamble of our days and take some satisfaction in the pleasure of leaving it all behind. It is wrong to think that love comes from long and persevering courtship. Love is the offspring of spiritual affinity, and unless that affinity is created in a moment, it will not be created in years or even generations. If we are always arriving and departing, it is also true that we are eternally anchored. One's destination is never a place but rather a new way of looking at things. Everyone wishes to be loved, but, in the event, nearly no one can bear it. Everyone desires love but also finds it impossible to believe that he deserves it. I believe that reading and writing are the most nourishing forms of meditation anyone has so far found. By reading the writings of the most interesting minds in history, we meditate with our own minds and theirs as well. Do external things distract you? Then make time for yourself to learn something worthwhile. Stop letting yourself be pulled in all directions. The acceptance of oneself is the essence of the whole moral problem and the epitome of a whole outlook on life. A man must dream a long time in order to act with grandeur, and dreaming is nursed in darkness. Other people, even people who love you, will not necessarily agree with your ideas, understand you, or share your enthusiasms. Grow up. Who cares what other people think about you? What is needed in our very complex modern society is calm consideration, with readiness to call dogmas in question and freedom of mind to do justice to the most diverse points of view. One can live for years sometimes, without living at all, and then all life comes crowding into a single hour. There is only one inborn error, and that is the notion that we exist in order to be happy. So long as we persist in this inborn error, the world seems to us full of contradictions. I've never been bothered with the need to rush out into the night. That's all. Sorry for all the millions, but I've never been lonely. I like myself. I'm the best form of entertainment I have. He who has waited long enough, will wait forever. And there comes the hour when nothing more can happen and nobody more can come and all is ended but the waiting that knows itself in vain.
Distance is not a problem. The problem is humans, because we don't know to love without touching, seeing or listening. And love is felt with the heart, not the body. No one can do a thing about feelings. They exist and there's no way to censor them. We can reproach ourselves for some action, for a remark, but not for a feeling, quite simply because we have no control at all over it. Whoever wants music instead of noise, joy instead of pleasure, soul instead of gold, creative work instead of business, passion instead of foolery, finds no home in this trivial world of ours. To love is to risk not being loved in return. To live is to risk dying. To hope is to risk despair. To try is to risk failure. But risks must be taken because the greatest hazard in life is to risk nothing. To lose one's life is no great matter. When the time comes I'll have the courage to lose mine. But what's intolerable is to see one's life being drained of meaning, to be told there's no reason for existing. A man can't live without some reason for living. Nature is beautiful and sinless, and we, only we, are sinful and foolish, and we don't understand that life is heaven, For we have only to understand that, and it will at once be fulfilled in all its beauty. We shall embrace each other and weep. I am a man of cultivation. I have studied various remarkable books, but I cannot fathom the direction of my preferences. Do I want to live or do I want to shoot myself, so to speak?
Some attempt to find rules in the teachings of others and adjust to that sight. For me, obedience to another is the decay of self. For though every being is similar, each being is different, and to herd our differences under one law degrades each self. Faith is neither hope nor trust, but a particular spiritual state. Faith is man's awareness that his position in the world obliges him to perform certain actions. I tend to think that everything counts. In the end, each life is no more than the sum of contingent facts, a chronicle of chance intersections, of flukes, of random events that divulge nothing but their own lack of purpose. I am nothing. I'm like someone who's been thrown into the ocean at night, floating all alone. I reach out, but no one is there. I call out, but no one answers. I have no connection to anything. No matter how many times I am told, you cannot understand the meaning of life, do not think about it but live, I cannot do so because I have already done it for too long. Whether you like it or not, you are committed to the human endeavor. I cannot ally myself with such a purely negative goal as avoidance of suffering. Suffering is a chance you take by the fact of being alive. Nothing shows a man's true inclinations better than the character of those whom he loves. We shall all someday look back on our lives and see that, in spite of our company, we were alone the whole way. This is what makes your self-respect so important, and I don't see how you can respect yourself if you must look in the hearts and minds of others for your happiness. People become neurotic when they content themselves with inadequate or wrong answers to the questions of life. They seek position, marriage, reputation, outward success of money, and remain unhappy and neurotic even when they have attained what they were seeking.